Now I am. Lisaveta, hello. Lisaveta is called Lisaveta.
Hi,
That's good.
hi,
So it's
Isabella.
already
I
this.
just changed my name, but before that, I had the same like Alex.
Yes.
Yeah, I was surprised, so I decided to change it.
Yeah, because today everybody's hiding behind Alex, this name. So we have this, a surprise party today, Lisaveta. Happens quite often, apparently, when an admin is setting up a link, then all of a sudden everyone is joining at this name. I have no idea why. Okay, ladies, let me share. I'm sure there will be more people joining, but in the interest of time, I will just share right now. And we will, Elisabetta, where have you been where you were not joining our sessions?
Yeah, actually, I'm working, so I had really busy days. So yeah, today I decided to join because I have like 1 hour.
Yeah,
But in general, yeah, for me it's a little bit hard because I need to manage my time appropriately.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry for that, but now I hope I will back. Yeah, because these sessions are really interesting for me.
yeah, sure. Thank you. And I know there is this is what I got today, the same messages from two different ladies saying that they were going to join, and then all of a sudden there is something happening in the lunchtime. I'm really struggling with positioning properly those events because I know people are struggling at lunchtime and then they are asking to share the presentation. I was wondering if afternoon is any better, but I know that people also want to go home in the afternoon, so rather than listen to anything like that. So I don't know. I think I will try and figure it out how to best position those events because not for everyone it is a lunchtime. I had a call with a lady from Brisbane in Australia a couple of minutes ago, and in her world it's a different timing altogether. And then there is this Pakistani lady who also wants to join us, and then it's a different timing in her world altogether. Anyway, I know people have problems with joining because we not only are all called Alex, but also we noticed that this link is outdated. So hopefully it will work for people. And if not, we will have to send them the recording, unfortunately. Because Alex, this is a link from February, right? Yeah. Okay, so if it doesn't work today, let's just start. And if it doesn't work for people, I will go back to them offline. Ladies, today
All right,
we
thank you.
are, yeah, that's what we'll do, I think. Alex, there's another Alex joined. Who has just joined?
Hello, I'm Sakina.
Hello. Can
How
you
are
please,
you?
thank you so much for joining. Can you please rename yourself because you're coming up as our good friend Alex, who is already on the call.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I will try to rename myself. No
yeah.
worries.
It's the three dots apparently in the, yeah, and apologies for that.
Okay, sure. No problem. I'll do that now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for joining. And where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from Sydney.
Lovely. What time is there now?
It is 11:07 p.m.
11:07 p.m. Oh my God, thank you so much for joining this rather than going straight to bed at 11.
No, no, all good, all good.
Okay, very good. So let me, Alex, can everybody see my screen? Because can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Yeah, I was hoping to share the screen in a different way, and I wonder if it's still possible, ladies. So please bear with me just another minute or so. I will unshare and stop sharing and then share again because there's a better way. Okay. Yeah. And it's not coming as a better way, unfortunately. I was hoping that you will be able to see me and the presentation as well, but it doesn't come out that way. And I wonder why. Yeah, I will try one more time, and then if this doesn't work, I will start. presentation anyway. Okay, is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was hoping for. Thank you. Now, let me go back to the first. This technology doesn't work well for me today. Now, ladies, this is the third session in the second part of our series, which is called Career by Design. And today's topic is how to transition to a new job with confidence. And when I say a new job, I also mean a new role or a pivot to a totally different industry or a different career altogether. I think those principles are common to all these scenarios. I don't want this to be a one-woman show, so if there is any question or any comment, anything in the meantime, please don't wait till the very end. Please do ask questions. Yes. So here is this quick agenda because I want you to know what you can expect at this meeting today. There's probably a too long welcome and introduction today. We already have 8 or 9 minutes past, but I will quickly go now to the core of today's presentation. Before you pivot, change a role, or transition to any other job, it is very important to think about it as what are you really starting with? So I'm a great believer in career by design, which means we are not going with the flow with our career and we are not going wherever the flow will take us. We want to step back and think about where do we want to be in life. And when we think where we want to be in life, we start with our values and passions rather than what's up there on the job board. So that's the biggest difference, I would say. And when you start with your values, you start with your non-negotiables, which is what is there that has to be for me, what do I value most before I even consider the move. Hence the identifying your non-negotiables here on the list, and we will talk about it later a little bit more. Now, the next thing is about the confidence gap, and I'm boldly saying confidence gap because I do believe we all have those confidence gaps, and it's very, very difficult to pivot or to change a role confidently if there is a confidence gap and imposter syndrome. So we'll talk about this and how to bridge it. And then once we have identified our non-negotiables and we are confident enough, then what next? What else? And we'll talk about this evergreen strategic networking, a little bit about modern interviews and how to master them. Then what we women are not perhaps best at, which is negotiating our worth, and then onboarding with intention. I'm a fan of a book by Michael, what's his name? Michael Watkins, The First 90 Days. It's very, very important how you start in every role, and your first 90 days start before you even join. And I will talk about this later as well. Yes, and there will be a QA and closing remarks, and we'll see if we can have just a little bit of a discussion. Yeah. So I've done this overview of the session, the purpose and the key takeaways we'll discuss later. Some of you here know me. I'm Izabela Kramasz. I spent more than 20 years in the corporate world, in the financial services sector, at every level of the corporate hierarchy, almost. I was not a CEO, but I am now a CEO of my own company, which is a coaching and consulting company, and especially for women high achievers like yourselves, who want to take the next step in their career and who want to take control of their career rather than giving back this control to someone else. Now, non-negotiables. Why do I want to talk about non-negotiables at all? Because oftentimes we forget about it. We start our new role, job, pivot, searching starting with what's out there on the job boards, LinkedIn, anything else, and we see what kind of role will be suitable for us. Whereas my view on it is, let's start with ourselves. What is it that I want to do? Who is it that I want to become? What is it that I value? And what is it that I will not negotiate ever? And when you start with yourself, it's so much easier to find out or to answer the question, what do I want to do next? And it's because oftentimes we are tired with our current role and we don't want to do it anymore. We don't quite know what else would be fulfilling or better. But if we start with our values, it's all of a sudden becomes so much easier. And let's look at those non-negotiables. What are they? Okay, I want to go into all of them at once. Core values I mentioned, key workplace principles. Yeah, and it's easy to talk about all those buzzwords, integrity, innovation, work-life balance, and so on. But let's think about what does it really mean? For example, there's a lot of banks now who insist on RTO, as they call it, return to office policy. We all know them, Goldman Sachs or recently JP Morgan. They all made headlines insisting on employees to come back fully to the office. So this is one of the things that you want to ask yourself. What do I value? If I value my free time, my flexibility, my time as such, and I don't want to commute 2 hours back and forth, and I really don't think why I have to be in the office 5 days a week, because my boss, for example, is elsewhere anyway, and my team is elsewhere anyway, then maybe it is a showstopper. No matter how much you admire the brand, or no matter how much you would love the role, this may be your non-negotiable. Another thing is integrity or innovation, for example. It can really be anything. If you know about a company, that this is a company that is not congruent with your own definition of integrity, then you don't want to consider it. I've been saying at those sessions many times that I would never work for a tobacco company, for example. This is against my values. So no matter what kind of role or money I would get there, that's out of scope for me. So think about the key principles that are important for you and do start with them. Then go to what kind of impact you want to make and what is the purpose for you in life and therefore in work. So what kind of contribution you want to make, and do your goals in life and professional align with whatever you can provide or achieve in the company. That's important as well. A lot of women especially define their goals as, I want to add value. I want to do something beyond good for the company. It has to be good for the society as such, for example. So if you don't find those kind of contributions, meaningful contributions in your role, you will forever be unhappy. I remember when I was unhappy at the end of my corporate career, because I knew that whatever I was doing was adding a lot to the bottom line of the company, but I couldn't anymore translate it into something bigger in my own head. Whereas helping others, empowering others, helping them grow, this I can translate into something bigger in my head. So that's the impact that I want to make and the purpose that I have in life. Now, more down to earth, your growth, your own growth and development. So another question to ask yourself is, will this role help me grow? How? Where do I want to go growth-wise? Will this help me develop as a person and also professionally? What are the learning and advancement opportunities in the role? And again, some of those things are not easy to distill out from all the, press releases or websites of the companies. But it's important to go beyond that. Talk to people who work there. search on LinkedIn, search on reviews, talk to as many people who know the brand as possible, so that you are not surprised when you get into the company thinking that this is your ideal role or ideal culture or ideal brand to work for. Yes, that's exactly it. Work environment and culture. This one is very intangible. It's difficult to measure if you are an outsider, if you don't belong, but then talking to people is key. Collaboration, is it autonomous? Is it fast-paced? Is it slower? What does it value? Why? So these are the things that we need to start with, and these I want to call, or I like to call, your non-negotiables, because some of them may be so important for you that they may be a deal breaker while accepting or even considering a role. Yes, confidence gap. I think this is my favorite one, because no matter what we talk about, it always boils down to your confidence level and how to bridge it. So say you imagine you decided you don't want to be in your role anymore, because in the current role, because you don't grow there anymore, or you don't feel that you make any impact anymore, or you are simply bored. It's nothing is happening, and then you find this really, really good role somewhere else. And then what happens, especially with roles that are advertised on job boards like LinkedIn, for example? Before you even apply, there's already 100 people who applied before you. So it's very easy to lose your confidence, to think like, well, those guys must be so much better than me. Who am I to apply for this role, especially if the role is higher up in the hierarchy or is in a big name company? But that could be a deal breaker and the killer for your opportunity to even consider the role further, let alone to step into it. So let's have a look at it and see how we can overcome them. Anybody here in the meeting who felt it before? There is this big role. I think I fit. I theoretically tick almost all the boxes, but well, no. Does it sound familiar, or is it just my own fear?
I'll go. Definitely, you've hit the nail on saying that. Especially on LinkedIn, when you see that 23 people have applied for the role, or whatever number, it's like, oh, forget it, I have no chance. So you just stop yourself thinking that, exactly like you said, there's someone better than you out there.
Yeah, spot on, Sakina. Thank you so much for sharing. That's exactly it. When I see a new role just showing up on LinkedIn and there is already 15 people who applied, I'm like, well, I'm sure at least 14 of them are much better than me. And that's exactly what you said, Sakina. You don't even know who applied, but you assume you are not good enough and they are better than you. Also, we have this, oftentimes we have, even if we don't see how many people have applied, if we don't tick all the boxes with all the requirements in the role, then it can be a showstopper. And at this forum, we discussed it so many times that this famous research done years ago, that if we don't tick 100% of the boxes, we think we don't fit. For men, it's as many as 60%. Like 60%, I'm done, I'm really good, I will apply. And for us, it is well. And to remember, like, if you are perhaps all from the corporate world, some of you may know how the job descriptions are written. Sometimes it is like, what else we can put on this job description? What else we can put on the job description? Now, if you feel that you should go for it, no matter what, whether it's like 100 people already applied, or whether it is there are 3 requirements that I'm not quite matching. But let's look at it closely at some other techniques. build your confidence, or to really strengthen it, because we all have some level of self-confidence, but how to make sure that we keep it and that it doesn't go any lower. I have 3 things here, and I want to talk about all of them together. Positive self-talk and celebrating achievements, those 2 go together. And I would start with celebrating achievements, really, because like even this morning I had a call with a wonderful lady with 15 years in the financial services sector, and she was saying, well, so long here and I haven't achieved anything. And again, when I look at her LinkedIn profile and her resume, it's awesome, absolutely awesome. But we tend to believe that, okay, we somehow have, managed to survive in the company for 10, 15 years. Yes, we have climbed the ladder a little bit, maybe more. And yes, we have done those projects, but it's not that much. Well, it is much, it is a lot. So what I'm a fan of, and what I encourage everyone to do, is, if you haven't done it before, look back at your resume, your experience, and highlight for yourself all the achievements that you are proud of. And trust me, in every role, there will be something that you are really, really proud of. When I went as far as I've written this long CV for myself years ago. It has 15 pages. It was a painful exercise that I was asked to do by my own mentor. And the purpose was, go back to as long as you can remember and look at your own CV and try to fill it in with the biggest achievements in every role, to as many details as possible. And it was like really mundane task. I thought it was boring at first, but then I was so excited, couldn't believe it. Yes, that's what I did. Yeah, I remember that one. This was awesome. And now this exercise, I continue this exercise, because every time there is something now in my new role, new, not so new anymore, if there is something really good, I keep tracking it, because this is what really helps you with your self-confidence. You all of a sudden bring to the surface everything that you have achieved and done, everything that you otherwise would have forgotten, or that you forgot anyway. So do be aware of all your achievements and never forget them, because they build your expertise, they build your experience, and they build your credibility, which you will be using when applying to this new role. And this is what I mean by achievement. Celebrating, yes, celebrating is also important. Yes, I'm a good girl, I've done it. Yeah, I've done it, it was not easy. And then do keep a track of it. And that's very, very, very good for your self-confidence. And this, as it goes together with your positive self-talk. When you look at I don't know, for me, it was the big budgets that I was managing, those strategic projects, those stakeholders at the level that I'm still proud of in some, central banks or anywhere else. These are really good things to remember for your own self-confidence, but also if you were to prove to anyone that this is the knowledge that you are saying you have, and the experience and the expertise. Mentorship is very important, and some of you will remember, because I'm preaching this every time we meet, that do get yourself a mentor from your current company. It's important. It's important that you have someone who will be helping you through all the organizational dynamics, and someone who will be helping you with your day-to-day challenges. It's important to have someone within the company. It's also useful to have someone who doesn't work with you, because oftentimes you don't want to share some challenges you have with your own environment. But having a mentor within your own company is really key. And important again, don't let it be your line manager. because it's never healthy. Your line manager should be your fan and supporter and sponsor and a mentor in a way, because if you respect them and believe in them, they are the best teacher. But a good mentor should be someone you admire, you respect, and someone more senior than you, because this person will help you grow. Does anybody here have a mentor already in the company where you work or used to have? No one? I don't believe you. Kasia? Kasia can't hear me.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Could you please
Yeah, I was asking, do you have a mentor?
Yes,
currently
I
in your
do.
company? Yeah.
Yes, I do. I had a mentor at Deloitte. I think
Uh-huh.
that we are pretty self-conscious about the value added, which comes from mentoring processes. So actually, for each team member, for us, it's mandatory to have a coach since early beginning, like after 3 months. After onboarding, a coach is being appointed, while for managerial roles, it's also mandatory or maybe recommended to have a mentor as well. So staff has a coach, and managers and above have a coach and a mentor. And my personal experiences are really positive when it comes to my mentoring processes. I believe that my mentor is an amazing woman. She's really inspiring, really helping me to see my strengths and build on them instead of focusing on maybe being over negative. So she encourages me to do my best, to rely on my guts, and just proceed with my development as I feel so. So personally, I'm really happy with my mentoring relation. And what's important, at least at Deloitte, we know that mentoring is a process, but if something goes wrong, or if you feel from a certain person you've already gained all the experiences, you are also free to change a mentor, and it's absolutely okay. And I think that for me, it's really important to know that if I wish to have another mentor, it's okay. I can just let my current mentor know that I wish to switch into mentoring processes with another leader, and that would be accepted. And same for me as a coach, I can also be changed if my coach wishes so.
And when you start in Deloitte, you have someone who is already assigned to you as a mentor, or do you choose them yourself?
When you're a junior, just after onboarding, it's automatically a manager from your team. It's usually dependable on availability of certain managers. So usually it's someone who works with you, but after you know more people, you can appoint someone from outside of your team. Because of course, when someone is very fresh and very green to an organization, it would be rather hard to appoint a perfect coach. But after this automatic assignment, you are free to change. And of course, if someone already knows another person which seems like a good match, then it's also okay to suggest it from very beginning.
Yeah, excellent, very good process, really. Thank you for sharing, Kasia. And Sakina, how about you? Sakina, how about you? Sakina can't hear us.
I'm here. Sorry. I had my mute issue. I was actually typing.
Typing in the chat, yes.
What the lovely lady in the chat.
Yeah.
I think that was a great initiative at Deloitte. I love the idea of switching mentors so that you can continue learning to grow. So that's good. I also did have a mentor, and I think she's, again, like the previous lady said, very inspirational leader. And a very, very good sounding board, especially when you are doubting yourself to, do a certain initiative or something. You do get a very objective view of, how to proceed with it. And it also helps in building your network. So definitely see the value in mentorship. Yes.
Very good. Thank you. And Elisabetta, how about you? You said you have a new job, right? You have a new role. Do you have a mentor already?
Yeah, actually, in my company, I don't have, but I have from my uni. And actually, she helps me to achieve my goals, but it's more like personal. I set 3 goals, and one is related to my job, but this mentor is not from my corporation. So now I'm just wondering, maybe I will search for someone from my company because it will be really useful for me.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be very, very useful. Alex, how about you? Do you believe in mentors? Alex.
Yes, I do. I do.
You do
I
believe in
do.
mentors as well.
Quite a number of them. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you, ladies. What I wanted to also to mention is that there is a difference between a mentor and a sponsor. It's also important to have a sponsor in the company. And the mentor will be someone you will learn from, and typically someone you will be approaching yourself and asking, can you please be my mentor? And be prepared to be asked a question, what do you want to be mentored on? So you need to have your own agenda. As Elisabetta said, I have 3 goals, personal goals, and this is what I'm working on with my mentor outside of my company, but the same within your company. But a sponsor is someone who will be advocating for you when you are not in the room, someone who will be advocating for you for the next role, for the next opportunity, next project, for a bigger platform. It better be a senior person and someone who knows you and really believes in you. It doesn't have to be someone who like intimately knows you because they are your friend or or whatever. Very often with the very senior people, we are not friends. But if someone has worked with you before or have heard about you because you presented a project or something, or even don't know you, but you still want to introduce yourself to them and you believe there is a connection, do search for one, because it is more a political role, but very, very important. Mentor is more content and sponsor is more political, but crucial. Those 2 roles go together. Yes. So we were talking about getting into new role or new job or a pivot, and we spoke about how we go about it at all. How do we find it? So we start with our values and strengths and passions. Then we go back to our achievements and everything that we have done and expertise and so on. And Elisabetta, for you, it's important because same for Kasia, and I'm not sure about Sakina, but for those of you who are only, especially Elisabetta, I think only starting, first job and so on, don't think that you have no achievements. You have nothing to build on. You do. And look at your life as a bigger picture. What have you done when you were studying? What kind of impact you were making? Maybe you were volunteering in some projects. Maybe you were studying and working. Maybe you were participating in some projects. And it all counts. You need to find things that separate you from other students, from other people. So do make sure that you find things that are very much all about you and how you are making a difference. And now the next thing is, what next? Strategic networking and building your support system. And remember, we are talking about looking for a new role, looking for a new job. So it's not even when you are already there, but it starts here and it continues all along. You cannot build your network because you're looking for a new role. Once you have it, then you forget about your network. That would be a mistake. I have a client who is now on the crossroad, and because he's under pressure, we have designed a networking plan for him within his company, first and foremost, and then outside of his company. Within his company, all of a sudden, based on the plan, he had meetings with 2-3 senior people every day for 2 weeks. And his world has changed completely. From being on a crossroad, he now has a couple of opportunities. And then this is what we were discussing. What would have happened if he was actively networking much sooner as a part of his role, as a part of life? Then it's not that transactional anymore. Then it comes naturally. Then you don't need to do in a panic. This is why strategic networking is so important. So here you will have the importance of networking beyond job boards, because I don't believe in job boards. And some of you may know about me. I think job boards are places where many companies have to post their vacancies, but oftentimes they are not true vacancies. They may be phantom jobs which already have a candidate, but still they have to be posted publicly. And cultivating those meaning connections, leveraging your LinkedIn effectively, having a very, very good brand on your LinkedIn, and then building a strong professional network around it. Many of us don't leverage LinkedIn the way we could, possibly. Yeah. Again, authentic engagement and value. What does it even mean? So going back to the example with my client, we often network when we are in trouble and under pressure. Then we either just go and search, who do I know? Or we go and say, well, I know this person and that person and this person, but I haven't spoken to them for 10 years or 3 years or a year. Like, how will I now reach out and say, I need your help? And then you feel it's transactional, and then you don't do it, or you do it and you feel awkward. This is why this strategic networking means once you know someone as a person of value, person who can be of value to you and to whom you may be of value, do care about this relationship. Make sure that you reach out often enough and early enough before you even need them. And I would also encourage you to have good relationship with recruiters in your niche, in your sector. The recruiters very often are very happy to make those connections because they always look for new candidates, for a new pool, for new opportunities. So they will be happy to go for a coffee with you every now and then. They will be happy to get to know what's happening in the industry and so on. And maybe if you know someone for a job that they are now searching, maybe you can help them. But this is a two-way street. It has to be a two-way street. Otherwise, it is transactional and it will be taking you nowhere. Hence the authentic engagement, right? Leveraging LinkedIn profile and content. This is what I can't stress enough. Those two go together anyway, because your LinkedIn profile should be showing your achievements, the value you can bring to the company or industry where you want to go. So it cannot be that much backwards looking. It should be forward looking. Every achievement, every experience should be translated into what does it mean for the company you would like to work for, what you can bring for them, to them. Instead of, I have learned this and this in my job, I have done this and this, my responsibilities were this and this. Now they don't care about your responsibilities, what you learned and so on. What they do care about is how it translates into what you will bring to this company. So how what you learned will now make you a good fit for this role. Joining groups and discussing with them on LinkedIn. If you are in pharmaceutical, for example, there are many pharmaceutical groups on LinkedIn. Join them, discuss with people, like their posts, get interested in what they are talking about. Because then next time, in half a year or a year, when you need them, you will already be a part of their circle. Yeah, and do follow up with people. Do connect with people outside your network, of course. Senior people, don't worry about reaching out to senior people. Do reach out to them, but always personalize. Like if you reach out for connection and they connect with you, follow up and say thank you and why you wanted to connect it. It's sometimes maybe as innocent as I've seen that you are in this industry. I really admire your career journey and thank you for connecting. And then look up what he or she is posting, liking, follow it, and then you will be showing in their network. Yes, we spoke about being a mentor, seeking support and offering support to others. This is what Kasia said. I have a mentor and I am a mentor, a coach, because it is again a two-way street, and it adds so much value to your personal brand when you are helping and mentoring others. Does it make sense, ladies, here as building a powerful professional network?
I believe that it makes a lot of sense, and I just wanted to add one thing, that being a mentor and sharing knowledge can be also beneficial for you, because you never know when and in which circumstances you will meet your mentees, your coaches, or maybe they contacts. So building a network of mutual trust and support is beneficial in all cases. Like sometimes I meet my coaches and they say me something which is helpful for my personal goals. So it's always like a win-win situation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kasia. That's very, very, very useful and a great observation. It's such a two-way street, as I would say, such a beneficial process for both. Here, when we talk about networking, networking can be spontaneous, but I encourage you to make it a less spontaneous and more strategic process. I learned to maintain a tool for my networking efforts. This is a simple Excel tool where I have the name, the contact details, and where I categorize my network, my professional network, into 3 categories, I would say 1, 2, 3. And one is someone who is in my immediate circle and someone with whom I want to or I need to be in touch very often. And then I say once a week, for example. Then number 2 is once a month, and then number 3 maybe once a quarter. And then I have this, I track record where I met with these people, and I know when I need to meet them next time. And I did it for myself because I couldn't trust myself that I will be doing it the way that I should and want to. And now it's very, very useful, because all of a sudden it's like a big contact details tool, and it helps me track my progress as well. So something to consider to structure your networking efforts before you really need the network immediately for helping you with something. Now, if you are in the situation when you need it now, do start now. But the sooner you start, the better. Now, interview. So let's say you decided to move on with your career. You know exactly what kind of role you want. You decided to go beyond the job boards, and you start to look at your network and build your network around where you want to go. Because the best way to look for your new role is to go to your connections and to go on LinkedIn and see who works, where is this industry, the company that I want to work for? Where are the roles? Who works on those roles? Where are the line managers of those roles? Connect with them, talk to them. Don't tell them, look, I'm looking for a job, can you hire me? That's not what I'm talking about. When you see a good role and you something that you would like to do connect with people who do it. Do say to them, oh, that's an awesome role, this is an awesome career, thank you for connecting, I would love to grab a virtual coffee and to learn more about your role. So that you start to make connections, and also reaching out to senior people and doing the same. And it's very, very effective, much more effective than applying for what is already there. So say you have it, you have secured an interview. Now, how to position yourself for this interview now? An interview which can be online, which can be, in person. I recently had a client who had an interview with a machine AI person, and that was an experience in itself. So there's a lot of modalities that you now will be seeing. So how to showcase your value in the best possible way. So there's a little bit of theory here on the best techniques. And yeah, so the best way is to build a story around your career, your expertise, your experience, and you as a person. That's the best way. And there is one of those methods is called STAR, where you talk about the situation, the task, the action, and the result. So you have you answer the questions that you are asked by telling a story, giving example, and get ready for it, because that's what the panel would want to hear, the evidence of what you, even if they don't ask you to give an example, like you can always answer the question, say, and this is exactly what I did here and there, and this is how I did it. Because this will separate you from others who don't use this technique, and this will give them immediately the credibility that they need, that you know what you're talking about. Highlighting unique achievements is very important. Sometimes you will have a 1 in a million thing that you have done, like a big thing. For me, it was in 2006, 2008, when there was this global financial crisis, and I was working in a bank which was rescued from collapsing by the government in Ireland. And one of the projects that I was then leading was one aspect, the biggest aspect of it was transferring of all distressed loans to a new governmental agency. And it was a massive project money-wise. It was really massive. The biggest that I have heard of, and the biggest that I did. So although it was so many years ago, I'm still showcasing it on my CV, and I was still showcasing it if I was going through interviews, because it was so unusual. Resonate with your audience. Before you even go, try to find out what is important for them, what they are looking for, what would resonate with them. And sometimes it just boils down to checking someone's LinkedIn profile, see what is trending, if you like, in their world now, and try to find this connection. Yeah, this one, calmly answer tough questions, is really like, really? Of course we will be uneasy and stressed and so on. It's difficult to calmly answer tough questions. Yet one of the best ways to handle tough questions and to handle an interview is to go to as many interviews as you can when you don't need it that much, because this is a really very good training. And when you really want a role and you really care, it will be so much easier. So if you have and I'm not saying now just apply for anything and go every day, but if there is a relevance, if there is something relevant which you may want to try, do a go and try, because you don't risk anything. But you can prepare yourself for the one which will be really important. And yes, reframing challenges as expertise and opportunities is very important. There's this saying now that there is no failure really. Failure is just data, which is, if I fail, I know that this doesn't work. I have to learn that I need to do it another way. So it's my experience gained. I put it on my expertise now and frame it as an opportunity to learn another way, a different way. And it's also a positive mindset. You don't tell yourself, yeah, I failed on this, I failed on that, I failed on I don't know what. Yeah, you didn't manage or whatever, but you learned, and you are now going to deliver in a different way. yeah, here is this example of this STAR method. I think it's pretty clear. Here someone says, during my time as a social media manager, our company's engagement was declining and we were struggling to reach out our target audience, right? So there is a situation, there is a challenge, there is a problem. And then you got this responsibility for increasing engagement and improving the brand's online presence. And then you have a target deadline-wise. Then what action you took, and then what result it brought. You see, it's a very quick case study and a very quick example to give, but it's so much more powerful than just answering a question. Yeah, I know how to do it because I was studying this and I was working there as a social media manager and we were doing really well. Thank you so much, but what does it mean really? And here you have a tangible example. Yes. So you have done this interview. You think you've done pretty well. Now there's this question: what is your salary expectation? And this question comes even sooner, oftentimes during your first screening, for example. So my take on this is, before you get in front of your hiring manager, never disclose your salary expectations. Never, ever. Never disclose how much you earn now, because you are not applying for your current role. You're applying for a different role. And if someone says, how much do you want to earn? What is your salary expectation? Especially if this is a recruiter, at the very, very first, encounter, a phone interview, for example, you are absolutely entitled and you have every right to say, well, I know what the range is for this role on the market, but I wouldn't like to share my expectation this early in the process because I'm not clear yet on the mandate, my responsibilities, and the scope. Because the recruiters very often don't know those details. Only hiring manager can explain to you what your mandate will be, what scale of responsibility, or what the expectations are. And they will be pushing you, but you can say, well, I really can't say, I prefer not to say at this. And if they push again, then you can repeat that you know what the benchmark or the range is for this position and you still want to go further, right? So try to not disclose, because you are at a disadvantage if you say, especially if you don't go with a range. Always go with a range if you have to. I don't know, 120 to 150. That's a range, and always give the lowest at the lower part of the range. Always put what you would like to get. So if you want to get, I don't know, 125, and you know that the range could be to, I don't know, 140. Always say. Sorry, the range is, for example, from 80 to 120, and you want to get 100. So say 100 to 120 when you're pressed. So you start at what you want to be, but it put it as the lower level. But this is only when you are in front of the hiring manager and you have no choice but to share, because you prefer them to share first. Okay. Yes, and use credible sources for decisions. So you need to know what the range is. You need to know the full package, what you can get. Excuse me, not just salary, bonuses, anything. Leverage different tactics. Anchoring is a good tactic when you, when you have your own view and you don't move beyond this view, you let them disclose more information. You will be at an advantage when you say, you may also ask, what is your budget for this position? Again, you have every right to ask for the budget. So you are anchoring your position as something, at some position. You are anchoring your position at some level or at some point, and then try and let them speak and offer and so on. And again, if pressed, really pressed, absolutely and completely pressed, do share a range, but a range that suits you. And again, look at this, use credible sources for decisions. You cannot go completely off the market, right? Stay flexible for best outcomes. Flexible means if they cannot go any higher on salary, maybe they can go higher on the bonus. Maybe they can give you sign-in bonus. Maybe there is something that you really, really value. You can work from home and therefore you can let go of the 10K, for example, which is aligned counter offers with goals. So if they say 10K less, but yes, you can work from home and therefore you save 4 hours every day of commuting, maybe that's worth it. And do remember, maintain relationships and don't burn bridges. If there is a no and you really don't want it, or you really think it's, I don't know, you may have gone to a point where you really want the role, but the conditions are not moving and there is nothing to compromise on, then maybe you need to step back and say, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I decided not to proceed, but you may need them one day. And in the same industry, the same names are coming up again and again. So you don't want to burn bridges. And I like this one because I remember once when I was hiring to my own team with a colleague of mine, we had a gentleman applying and there was an interview. He came in and we were discussing. And at some point it must have been maybe halfway through the interview, he realized that the position was advertised at a lower level that he was hoping for. And the moment he realized that, he asked us this question, is this at this level? And we said yes. And then he said, okay, fine. He got up, took his coat and said, thank you, I didn't want this low position. And he left. And so this was very, very assertive. And we still were like, wow. And I admired his assertiveness at some point, but also that's not the way to negotiate. There are always like 1,000 other ways that he could tell us that he doesn't want this position, and there was a misunderstanding. Yes, smooth transition, and I am conscious of time, ladies, so I'm not now finishing. Again, I'm a fan of the 90 days that I mentioned. When you're already in the role, do leverage your first 3 months to set you up for success as much as possible. And do remember, this is like the American president, for example, after 100 days, they have to present a report from the first few months in the office. You will be watched, you will be assessed, you will be evaluated and everything else. So do connect with people, do set up expectations, roles, goals, and so on. Prioritize your workload, have a lot of energy and adapt. I mentioned at the beginning that I have something in the chat. Gosh, I had to leave. Okay, fine. I say the first 90 days, but if you already know you're joining the company, start sooner. Get people for coffee from this company, people that you want to build a relationship with, people you want to get to know something from. Start engaging and connecting before you even join. And then once you join, you will be better off because you will not be such a stranger anymore. Okay, ladies, it's 1 minute past the hour. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions or comments at this junction?
Very, very valuable insights. I really appreciate it. I'm between jobs at the moment. And so many things were as if you were reading my mind in terms of, some of the key points. So it's very reassuring that, we all experience similar human emotions. But I've taken a few notes around the do's and don'ts. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Sakina. Thank you for joining. If you need any more insights, any more help, do book a call and we can always discuss.
Sure.
Yeah, and just out of interest, you're moving between roles because have you found this other role already, or are you just looking?
I am at the interview stage, so I'm on
Okay.
LinkedIn looking for jobs and applying. So I was in a senior financial services. I was a leader and a coach. There was, well, I took voluntary redundancy after 14 years in an organization, and now I'm looking for new opportunities. So
Very good. Very exciting.
it is. Thank you.
Yeah, very exciting, especially if you have some time with the package and so on to look for something really, really good. So yeah, I cheer you
True.
and
Thank you.
all the best.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you all. And see you next time, hopefully.
Will do.
Thank
See you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.